In this video, we're going to talk about two concepts that are related to triangles. And the first concept is called perimeter. Now, perimeter is just the measurement around an object, in this case, around a triangle. So, for example, let's say you had a garden and you made it in the shape of a triangle. And you wanted to know how much fence you need to put around the garden. What's the length of the amount of fence that you need? So intuitively, I think you would probably just know to add the length of this side, that's how much fence you need on that side, the length of that side, and the length of that side. You would add that up together, all three sides, and you'd get the total amount of fencing that you need to go around the garden. That's all perimeter is. It's the measurement around the outside of the triangle. So, on your formula sheet, you'll see the formula written as P perimeter equals S1 plus S2 plus S3. S here means side, the side of the triangle. So side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3, that's going to give you the perimeter. It doesn't matter which side you call 1, 2, 3 because in addition, we have the commutative property, which means it doesn't matter which order you add them up in. So let's say you have 4, 6, and 8. So the perimeter of this triangle is 4 plus 6 plus 8 equals 18. Now, in most perimeter problems, there will be some sort of unit of measure. So it might be meters, let's say. And so in perimeter, your unit of measure in your answer is just the normal unit of measure. So here we have 4 meters plus 6 meters plus 8 meters equals 18 meters. That is the answer for your perimeter of this triangle. So perimeter, all you do, add up the three sides. It's the measure of the length around the object. That's what perimeter means. Now, if you haven't watched the part 1 video for triangles that is on the Facebook page, you need to watch that because you need to know a couple of terms that they're going to throw in on these kinds of problems. They might tell you you have an isosceles triangle, and this is 10 inches and this is 6 inches. What is the perimeter of this triangle? So you need to know what isosceles means. That's in the part 1 video of triangles posted on Facebook. So from that we know that this side is also 10 inches. So the perimeter is just 10 plus 10 plus 6 equals 26 inches. Similarly, they might tell you you have an equilateral triangle. So you need to know what equilateral means. And they'll say the side is 5 feet. What is the perimeter? Well, in equilateral, we know that all three sides are the same length. So the perimeter is 5 plus 5 plus 5, which equals 15 feet. So perimeter, just add up the three sides of the triangle. Make sure you know what isosceles and equilateral are because you might get those terms in these types of problems. The next concept I'm going to show you has to do with the lengths of the sides of triangles. So I'm going to pause and put something on the board. So I've written a statement on the board that you really need to just know and memorize. The sum of the lengths of any two sides must be greater than the third side. And this is when we're talking about triangles. So, what does this mean? If you have a triangle, for example, this side is 4, this side is 6, what length can this side be? And you'll see it can't be anything. It's going to be a certain, only certain numbers. So how do we figure this out? Well, we know the sum of the lengths of any two sides must be greater than, remember this too, it has to be greater than the third side. So for example, we'll just do a couple. Can this third side be 8? And we're going to do a practice problem at the end here, but it'll basically be a multiple choice question asking what is a valid length for the side. But can it be 8? So the sum of the lengths of any two sides. So we have to take, you should remember that sum means addition. So we take the sum of any two sides, and it has to be greater than the third side. But it has to hold for any two sides. So we have to do all combinations of two sides. So the first two sides we'll take is this one, 4 plus 8. The sum of two sides, this side and this side. That equals 12. When we're taking the sum of these two sides, the third side is this one, which is 6. Well, 12 is greater than 6. So that works out. But we have to do all combinations. So that was these two sides. Now we'll look at these two sides. 4 and 6. 4 plus 6 equals 10. When we take these two sides, the third side is this one, 8. 10 is greater than 8, so that works out. But we have to do all combinations, so we've done these two sides and compared it to that third side. We've done these two sides and compared it to this third side. Now we have to do these two sides. 6 plus 8 equals 14. The third side, when we do the sum of these two sides, is 4. 14 is greater than 4, so that works out. So 8 is a valid answer. The length of this side could be 8. Let's see if it could be 10. So if this was 10, we'll take, again, we have to do the sum of the lengths of any two sides. So we're just going to start, doesn't matter which two you start with, we're just going to start with these two. 4 plus 10 is 14. When we're taking the sum of these two sides, the third side is this. That's greater than 6, so that works. When we take these two sides, 4 plus 6, which is 10, we're comparing it against this third side, which is 10. Well, our theorem says that the sum of the two sides has to be greater than the third side. So the sum of these two sides, 4 and 6, has to be greater than the third side. Well, here the third side is 10. So it's not greater than, it's equal to that third side. So it's not greater than, therefore 10 is not a valid answer. The length of this third side cannot be 10 because the length of two sides have to be greater in every instance. And here it's not. We'll do a couple more. Let's see if 5 works. Two sides, 4 plus 5 equals 9. Is that greater than the third side? It is. Greater than 6. We'll take these two sides. 4 plus 6 equals 10. Is that greater than the third side, which is 5? Yep, that works. Now we got to do these two sides. 6 plus 5 equals 11. Is that greater than the third side? Yes, it is. So 5 is also a valid answer. So you see how it has to hold true for every combination. So you're going to have 3 combinations that you have to check out against the third side. We'll do one more here and then do a final practice problem. How about 1? Can the length of this side be 1? Well, let's do 4 plus 1 equals 5. The third side is 6, but the sum has to be greater. Well, 5 is not greater than 6, so 1 is not a valid answer. Let me show you graphically what's happening here. You have 4, 6, and 1. The reason 1 is not a valid answer is because it won't be able to reach that other side. So that's what this theorem is all about, is the reason that the sum of the two sides have to be greater than the third side is in order for all of them to be able to reach each other. All sides be able to reach each other. If this one is too short, it won't be able to reach that third side. And that's what this is about. So, know this and remember this. I'm going to take a pause and put one last practice question up. So here's a practice question on this concept. You have a length of 12 and a length of 18. Which one of these can be the length of the third side? So how I would approach this, I would just start at the beginning and try each one until you get the right answer. So, can it be 30? Is that a valid answer? Well, I take the sum of two sides, so we'll go 12 plus 18. That equals 30. Well, remember, the sum has to be greater than the third side, which is this side. So 30 is not greater than 30, it's equal. So 30 is not a valid answer. How about B? Can it be 5? So you take these two sides, 12 plus 18 is 30. That is greater than the third side, which here is 5. So that's good so far. Now let's take these two sides. 12 plus 5 is 17. Well, 17 is not greater than the third side here. So, because 17 is not greater than 18. So, as soon as it fails, the answer fails. Then you can quit, move to the next one. So we know 5 is not right. How about 25? Here we have 12 plus 18 is 30. Well, that's greater than the third side of 25. Now let's try these two sides. 12 plus 25 is 37. That's greater than 18, the third side, so still good. Now we got to try these two sides, because remember, it has to hold true for any combination. So 25 plus 18 is 43. Well, that's greater than 12, so it checks out for all three combinations. So 25 is a valid answer. That's the right answer on the test. You would just move on to the next question. Let's just try the last one just to see. Here, again, 12 plus 18 is 30. That's greater than 6, so that's good. 12 plus 6 is 18. Well, it has to be greater than 18 than the third side. Since 18 equals 18, that's not the right answer. So, remember perimeter, the distance around the triangle. Add the three sides up. Remember the words isosceles and equilateral. And then remember this theorem, that the sum of the lengths of any two sides, when you add up any two sides, it has to be greater than the third side. But it has to hold true for any two sides, so you have to take all combinations of the two sides.